The massive research vessel Horizon Prime drifted silently through the inky blackness of deep space, its sleek titanium hull reflecting pinpricks of distant starlight. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the mission's lead xenobiologist, stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes scanning the holographic star charts that flickered before her. "Approaching Kepler 452 system," announced Arya, the ship's advanced artificial intelligence. "Preliminary scans detecting unusual electromagnetic signatures." Elena's hand reflexively touched the communication badge on her uniform. The badge, crafted from a unique graphene titanium alloy, represented humanity's most advanced technological achievements. Behind her, a diverse crew of scientists and explorers prepared for what could be their most significant mission yet. Commander Marcus Chen, a veteran of multiple deep space missions, approached Elena. His weathered face bore the marks of countless interstellar journeys, each line telling a story of human perseverance. "The Zarkon are expecting us," Marcus said, his voice low and measured. "But something tells me this won't be a typical diplomatic encounter." The Zarkon were legendary among interstellar civilizations, a species known for their technological superiority and rigid social hierarchies. They had a reputation for dismissing younger spacefaring races as primitive and unworthy of serious consideration. Arya's holographic interface shifted, displaying a complex communication pattern. "Incoming transmission from Zarkon Central Command," the AI reported. "Decryption in progress." A crystalline figure materialized in the holographic space, Ambassador Krelvax, representative of the Zarkon High Council. Its multifaceted body shimmered with an iridescent quality, reflecting light in impossible geometric patterns. "Humans of Earth vessel Horizon Prime," Krelvax's translated voice resonated with a mixture of condescension and mild curiosity. "You have been granted limited access to our research zone. Your presence is tolerated." Elena exchanged a glance with Marcus. The diplomatic undertones were clear. The Zarkon saw humans as barely more than curious children in the vast cosmic playground. "We come in the spirit of scientific collaboration," Elena responded diplomatically, her voice steady. "Our research teams are prepared to share knowledge and learn from your advanced scientific methods." Krelvax's form seemed to shimmer with what could only be described as barely concealed amusement. "Collaboration implies equivalence, Dr. Rodriguez. The technological gap between our civilizations is substantial." Before Elena could respond, Arya interrupted. "Ambassador, our sensors are detecting an anomalous energy signature within the system. The reading suggests something beyond standard astronomical phenomena." The holographic transmission flickered momentarily, a rare occurrence for the typically immaculate Zarkon communication systems. Marcus leaned forward, his intuition heightened. "What aren't you telling us?" Krelvax's form became momentarily rigid. "There is a challenge. A scientific evaluation that has proved insurmountable for multiple advanced civilizations. We are curious to see how humans might approach it." The challenge hung in the air like a gauntlet, unspoken but unmistakable. The Zarkon were about to test humanity's capabilities, expecting nothing more than another disappointing demonstration of their perceived technological inferiority. Little did they know, humanity's greatest strength had never been its technology, but its ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. As the Horizon Prime continued its approach, Elena felt a familiar surge of excitement. This was more than a scientific mission, this was an opportunity to demonstrate the indomitable human spirit. The Horizon Prime entered a carefully designated research zone within the Kepler 452 system, surrounded by a complex network of energy barriers and gravitational anomalies. Ambassador Krelvax's holographic projection remained active, a constant reminder of the Zarkon's watchful presence. The challenge, Krelvax began, its crystalline form projecting a three-dimensional map of an impossibly hostile environment, involved survival on Nexus 9. It is a planetary research station located in a region of space where conventional physics break down. Dr. Elena Rodriguez studied the holographic display, her scientific mind already analyzing the complex data streams. Nexus 9 appeared to be more of a crucible than a planet, a place where multiple extreme environmental conditions converged simultaneously. Commander Marcus Chen zoomed in on the holographic projection. Gravitational fluctuations, quantum instability, and what appears to be simultaneous extreme temperature variations, he muttered. This isn't just a survival challenge. It's a fundamental test of adaptive capabilities. Arya's voice cut through the tension. Scanning reveals that no less than 17 advanced civilizations have attempted to establish a sustainable presence on Nexus 9. All have failed within 72 standard hours. Krelvax's form pulsed with a mixture of challenge and barely concealed skepticism. Humans will be given standard protective equipment and access to a limited set of technological resources. The objective is simple: establish a research outpost capable of maintaining scientific observation for a minimum of 96 hours. The challenge was more than a test. It was a deliberate attempt to demonstrate the supposed limitations of human capability. Elena's team began preparations immediately. Dr. Aisha Kapoor, the mission's environmental engineering specialist, began reconfiguring their standard survival suits. Her fingers flew across holographic interfaces, making modifications that pushed the boundaries of current technological understanding. The suits need to be adaptive, Aisha explained to Marcus. We can't just protect against one set of conditions. We need a system that can recalibrate in microseconds. Marcus watched her work, impressed by the engineer's innovative approach. Where other species might have accepted the limitations of their equipment, humans saw challenges as opportunities for radical redesign. The selection process for the mission was brutal. Out of the entire crew, only 3 would be selected for the Nexus 9 challenge. Elena would lead the team, accompanied by Aisha and Dr. Ravi Sharma, a quantum physicist with an unprecedented record of solving seemingly impossible scientific puzzles. As the final preparations were made, the tension on the Horizon Prime was palpable. The Zarkon observers watched with a mixture of academic curiosity and thinly veiled dismissiveness. Humans have never successfully navigated a multidimensional environmental challenge of this complexity, Krelvax noted to its scientific team. This will be a short demonstration of their limitations. What the Zarkon didn't realize was that limitations, to humans, were merely starting points for innovation. The mission briefing was unlike any standard protocol. Elena looked at her team, Aisha with her engineering brilliance, Ravi with his quantum insights, and herself with a lifetime of xenobiological research. We're not just going to survive, Elena told them, her voice calm but filled with determination. We're going to redefine what survival means. As the specialized shuttle prepared for departure, the Zarkon observers began placing their bets. None of them bet on the humans succeeding. The shuttle's launch was smooth, almost anticlimactic. But within its compact interior, a storm of human creativity and determination was brewing, ready to challenge every preconceived notion about their capabilities. The shuttle carrying Elena, Aisha, and Ravi approached Nexus 9, its external sensors working overtime to process the planet's impossible environmental conditions. Quantum fluctuations created rippling distortions in spacetime, making visual navigation a nightmare of shifting perspectives. Gravitational readings are completely nonlinear, Ravi muttered, his fingers dancing across the quantum stabilization interface. The planet seems to be simultaneously existing in multiple states of matter and energy. Aisha's modifications to their protective suits began to reveal their true brilliance. Where traditional equipment would have failed instantly, her adaptive nanocomposite material started to reconfigure in real time. Microscopic sensors woven into the fabric began to anticipate and counteract the environmental extremes. As they landed, the first wave of challenges hit immediately. The ground beneath their feet seemed to pulse with an almost living quality, solid one moment, liquid the next, then briefly transforming into a state that defied conventional understanding of matter. Suit integrity at 92%, Arya's voice came through their communication systems. Environmental adaptation protocols engaging. Elena took the first step onto the surface of Nexus 9. Her boots, equipped with Aisha's revolutionary nanogrip technology, managed to find purchase on a surface that seemed to actively resist stable configuration. "We're going to need a completely different approach to establishing a research outpost," Elena said, her voice calm despite the extraordinary circumstances. "Traditional construction methods won't work here." Ravi had already begun analyzing the quantum signatures of the environment. "It's not just about survival," he explained. "This planet is essentially a living mathematical problem. Every second is a complex equation that's constantly rewriting itself." The Zarkon observation team watched through their long-range sensors, their initial dismissiveness slowly giving way to a growing sense of intrigue. The human team was behaving unlike any previous expedition they had monitored. Where other civilizations had attempted brute force technological solutions, the humans were taking a fundamentally different approach. Instead of fighting the environment, they were attempting to understand and work with its inherent instability. Aisha began deploying a series of adaptive drone units. Unlike traditional research probes, these were more like living systems than machines. Each drone was essentially a complex network of nanosensors, capable of rapidly reconfiguring its structure to match the surrounding environment. "We're not establishing a fixed outpost," she explained to Elena and Ravi. "We're creating a dynamic research network that can flow and adapt with the planet's constant changes." The first hour on Nexus 9 was a masterclass in improvisation. Where other teams would have been crushed by the environmental pressures, this human team treated the challenge like an intricate dance, constantly moving, adapting, responding. Ravi's quantum analysis revealed something extraordinary. The planet wasn't just a hostile environment, it was a complex system with its own form of intelligence. The constant shifts weren't random, they were a form of communication that previous expeditions had completely misunderstood. "It's like the entire planet is a computational system," Ravi said, his eyes wide with scientific excitement. "We're not just surviving here. We're potentially communicating with a living planetary intelligence." The Zarkon observation team began to recalibrate their sensors. The humans were doing something unprecedented, transforming a survival mission into a groundbreaking scientific exploration. As the first day progressed, the adaptive strategies of the human team began to yield results that defied all previous scientific understanding. Their research outpost wasn't a fixed structure but a dynamic network of sensors and adaptive units that could reshape themselves instantaneously. "Survival probability has increased to 67%, Arya reported. Previous expeditions never exceeded 12% survival rate beyond the first 24 hours. The challenge was far from over. But for the first time, the Zarkon observers found themselves genuinely uncertain about the outcome. The quantum landscape of Nexus 9 continued to shift and pulse, testing the limits of human ingenuity. As the second day of the mission progressed, Elena, Aisha, and Ravi had transformed their initial survival strategy into something far more profound. Ravi's breakthrough came unexpectedly. While analyzing the planet's complex energy signatures, he discovered a pattern that suggested the environmental changes were more than random, they were a form of communication. "It's like the planet is a massive, living computational system," Ravi explained, his excitement barely contained. "The gravitational and quantum fluctuations aren't obstacles. They're a language." Aisha began integrating this insight into their adaptive technology. Her nanodrones started to reconfigure themselves not just as research tools, but as translation devices. Each drone became a complex interpreter, attempting to understand the planet's unique method of communication. Meanwhile, Elena collected data that challenged everything the scientific community understood about planetary ecosystems. The traditional boundaries between organic and inorganic matter seemed to dissolve on Nexus 9. Energy, matter, and information existed in a state of constant, dynamic interchange. Back on the Horizon Prime, the Zarkon observation team watched with growing astonishment. Commander Marcus Chen monitored the transmission, his expression a mixture of pride and scientific curiosity. They're not just surviving, Marcus said to Arya. They're engaging with the environment in a way no other civilization has attempted. The Zarkon ambassador Krelvax's holographic form flickered with what could only be described as growing uncertainty. The humans were breaking every preset expectation, challenging the fundamental assumptions about planetary exploration. As the third day approached, the research team's adaptive strategies reached a critical point. Ravi's quantum translation algorithms began to yield remarkable results. The planet wasn't just a hostile environment, it was a complex, living system seeking communication. Look at this, Ravi called to Elena and Aisha, displaying a series of complex energy patterns. These aren't random fluctuations. They're responsive. The planet is learning from us. Aisha's adaptive suits began to change in response to the planetary communication. Nanomaterials shifted and reconfigured, creating interfaces that seemed to breathe and pulse with the surrounding environment. The line between technology and living system became increasingly blurred. Elena realized they were on the brink of a discovery that could revolutionize human understanding of planetary ecosystems. This wasn't just a survival mission anymore. It was first contact of the most profound kind. The Zarkon observation team became increasingly agitated. Their advanced sensors struggled to process the complex interactions between the human team and the planetary system. Everything they believed about environmental adaptation was being challenged. Probability of mission success has increased to 89%, Arya reported. Previous expeditions never exceeded 15% survival rate. As the final day of the mission approached, the human team had transformed from mere survivors to potential communicators with a living planetary intelligence. Their adaptive strategies had turned an impossible challenge into an unprecedented scientific breakthrough. The final day of the Nexus 9 mission arrived with a revelation that would shake the foundations of interstellar scientific understanding. What had begun as a survival challenge had transformed into a groundbreaking communication event that defied all previous scientific paradigms. Ravi's quantum translation algorithms had reached a critical breakthrough. The planet wasn't just responding to human presence, it was actively attempting to communicate. Complex energy patterns began to form intricate sequences that resembled a form of language more sophisticated than any known communication system. It's like we're witnessing the planet thinking, Ravi said, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and profound wonder. These patterns, they're not random. They're a form of consciousness we've never encountered before. Elena carefully documented every observation, her scientific mind working overtime to process the unprecedented data. Aisha's adaptive technologies had become more than just research tools, they were now complex interfaces that bridged human understanding with the planet's unique form of intelligence. The Zarkon observation team watched in stunned silence. Ambassador Krelvax's holographic form flickered with an emotion that closely resembled shock. Everything they believed about planetary ecosystems, about the hierarchy of intelligent life, was crumbling before their sensors. Impossible, Krelvax muttered, its crystalline form pulsing with agitation. No civilization has ever maintained contact with Nexus 9 for more than 48 hours. How are they doing this? The answer lay in humanity's most fundamental characteristic, adaptability. Where other civilizations had approached Nexus 9 with rigid technological solutions, the human team treated the planet as a living, communicative entity. As the mission entered its final hours, something extraordinary happened. The planetary environment began to stabilize around the human research team. The violent quantum fluctuations that had previously made survival impossible started to smooth out, creating pockets of relative stability. It's responding to us, Aisha said, her voice filled with awe. The planet is actually adapting to our presence, not just fighting against it. Ravi's analysis revealed a deeper truth. The complex communication wasn't just happening through technology, it was a fundamental exchange of information at a quantum level. The humans weren't just observing Nexus 9, they were engaging in a form of symbiotic interaction. On the Horizon Prime, Commander Marcus Chen watched the transmission with a sense of pride that went beyond scientific achievement. This was more than a mission, it was a testament to human potential. "They're not just surviving," Marcus said to Arya. "They're communicating on a level we've never imagined possible." The final moments of the mission approached. The Zarkon had expected a quick failure, a demonstration of human limitations. Instead, they were witnessing something that challenged everything they understood about intelligence, adaptation, and communication. As the research team prepared to conclude their mission, Nexus 9 seemed to pulse with a form of gratitude. The planetary environment had transformed from a hostile crucible to a collaborative ecosystem. Mission success probability at 99.7%, Arya reported, its computational voice unable to capture the profound significance of what had just occurred. The Zarkon observation team fell silent. Their long-held beliefs about the limitations of younger spacefaring races were crumbling before their sensors. The humans had not just survived, they had redefined the very concept of survival. Krelvax's holographic form seemed to shrink, the previous condescension replaced by a growing respect that bordered on reverence. The aftermath of the Nexus 9 mission sent shockwaves through the interstellar scientific community. What had begun as a simple survival challenge had become a pivotal moment in human-alien relations, challenging fundamental beliefs about intelligence, adaptation, and potential. In the days following the mission, the Zarkon High Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Krelvax's report was unlike any previous scientific documentation, a humble, almost reverential account of human capabilities that defied all previous understanding. "We have gravely underestimated humanity," Krelvax stated before the council, its crystalline form projecting holographic data from the Nexus 9 mission. "Their approach to scientific exploration is not about technological superiority, but about a fundamental ability to communicate, adapt, and understand." Back on the Horizon Prime, Elena, Aisha, and Ravi underwent extensive debriefing. Their discovery went far beyond a simple planetary research mission. They had essentially established first contact with a living planetary intelligence in a way no civilization had ever achieved. "It's not about conquering an environment," Elena explained during her report. "It's about understanding it. About finding a way to communicate and coexist." The scientific data they brought back was revolutionary. Ravi's quantum translation algorithms opened up entirely new fields of study. Universities and research institutions across human-controlled space began analyzing the findings, recognizing that this was more than a scientific breakthrough, it was a philosophical revolution. Commander Marcus Chen found himself at the center of a diplomatic transformation. The Zarkon, once dismissive of human potential, now sought collaborative research opportunities. Invitations arrived from multiple alien scientific councils, each eager to understand the human approach to exploration. "Humanity's greatest strength," Marcus would later write in his official report, "is not our technology, but our ability to see potential where others see only limitations." Aisha's adaptive technologies became the foundation for a new generation of research equipment. Her nano-adaptive systems were quickly adopted by multiple alien civilizations, fundamentally changing approach to planetary exploration. The Nexus 9 mission became more than a scientific achievement. It was a turning point in how intelligent life viewed itself. Humans were no longer seen as a young, inexperienced species, but as potential partners in understanding the complex universe. At the heart of this transformation was a simple truth: humanity's ability to approach the unknown with curiosity, empathy, and an open mind. The rigid hierarchies of interstellar scientific communities began to crumble, replaced by a more collaborative understanding. During a historic diplomatic meeting, Krelvax made a statement that would be remembered for generations. "We came expecting to demonstrate human limitations. Instead, we learned the true meaning of potential." The Horizon Prime returned to human space not as conquerors, but as ambassadors of a new way of thinking. The mission had transformed from a simple survival challenge to a profound lesson in communication, adaptation, and mutual understanding. As the ship approached Earth, Elena looked out at the stars, knowing that humanity had just taken its first real steps into a larger, more complex universe. The boundaries of what was possible had been rewritten, not through force or technology, but through understanding. The journey of discovery had only just begun.